can your fitness bracelet be used against you in a court of law? Well, it turns out that the Fitbit has already been utilized in one Canadian case, and as a result, because of the GPS tracking on the device, turns out that prosecutors can come after you, defense attorneys can actually use the evidence against you. It's really scary stuff, especially coupled with all of the other privacy invasions we're currently dealing with when it comes to the federal government. Now let me give you some more information on the Canadian case. The first known court case using Fitbit activity data is underway. A law firm in Canada is using a client's Fitbit history in a personal injury claim. The plaintiff was injured 4 years ago in a car crash when she was a personal trainer, and her lawyers now want to use her Fitbit data to show that her activity levels are still lower than the baseline for someone of her age and profession to show that she deserves compensation.
That's ridiculous.
That
doesn't prove that her injury is causing her to have lower activity levels. She could just have lower activity, especially considering it's her lawyers are saying it. It sounds like a strategy that she could have used. I'm not saying that she did. I'm just saying that doesn't prove what you're saying it proves.
There are a lot of issues. What you just said hits the nail on the head. I want to elaborate on that a little more. First of all, you're not always wearing your Fitbit.
Yeah.
There are days when you, or not even just days, like every day, you got to charge it, right? When you're charging it, it's not on your person, which I always think is a funny phrase, on your person. But nonetheless, it's not necessarily the most accurate way to figure out how active someone is. There are some days when I just don't feel like wearing it. So I'll keep it on a desk or something and I'll leave it there.
You can forget it.
Or I'll forget to put it on after I take a shower. Whatever it is, it's not necessarily the most accurate data to use in something as serious as a trial or even a criminal investigation. There are some reports indicating that these devices are now going to be utilized in criminal investigations as supportive evidence either against or in favor of the defendant or plaintiff. But in this case, not the defendant or plaintiff, but the person who's being prosecuted. That's what I meant to say. Now, let me give you some more information on this, okay? It is not the raw Fitbit data that will be used in the courtroom. The lawyers are relying on analytics companies called, or one analytics company called Viva Metrica, which compares individual data to the general population by using industry and public research. So let's stop right there. There's now a third party involved that is not only analyzing your data, but they take your data and they compare it to the general population, as long as those members of the population also have the same device. Now, do Fitbit or other fitness bracelet wearers know that this is happening? Of course not. I had no idea.
You probably signed off on it, but it was in a 20-page thing.
Exactly. And with Fitbit, what you do is you download an app, and whenever you download an app, you basically sign your life away without realizing it. People don't read the terms and conditions, unfortunately. But this is potentially inaccurate data that is not only being analyzed by a third party that you're completely unaware of. That third party can then send that inaccurate data to officials to be used in a court of law.
Now, one of the cool things that makes the Fitbit data really reliable is that if, in your examples, you work out without it on, or if somebody else uses it to work out, it will explode and stop functioning. Oh, no, wait, no, it can actually be totally thrown off. Like, even in the first example, you could kind of make the case that the low activity levels doesn't prove that the injury caused it, but if there were really high activities levels, that could prove that she wasn't that injured, except that, of course, somebody else could be using it.
That's very true.
It doesn't really provide any information unless you can absolutely prove that somebody was using it at all the relevant times and no one else was using it, which you cannot do.
Here's another thing to take into consideration. There are various fitness bracelets out there. There are some fitness bracelets that can track the exercise you're getting if you're riding a bike. The majority of them actually don't. So let's say you are trying to prove that you are active, but you've been riding your bike. It doesn't count if you've been riding your bike, if you don't have the right fitness bracelet. In another case, you know, it tracks your sleep. But the way that it tracks your sleep is based on your body movement. So have you been still for a long period of time? Well, then you must be asleep. That's the way it tracks it. Of course, it also takes into account your heart rate if your bracelet is equipped with the technology to do that. But the whole point of all these details I'm giving you right now is that it's not necessarily accurate, and it is an invasion of privacy. If these products are being sold to consumers to help them improve their health, why does there have to be another added caveat where it's going to be used against them should they ever find themselves in any type of legal predicament?
Yeah, it's depressing that like with every technological innovation that we get access to something new, for instance, like browsing the internet or shopping on Amazon, like it almost feels like it used to be that you'd invent things to make people's lives better or just to make some money for you. But now it seems like it's just we're going to find another way to mine from what you do any relevant piece of information for our criminal investigations, for government investigations, just for advertising purposes. Like, we're not just machines producing raw data for you to monetize in some fashion, whether it's on a treadmill or whether it's when I'm browsing books online or something. And it makes me sick that that's how we continue to be treated by, it seems like, every corporation.
Well, technology can be used for good and evil, and you're seeing the same thing with the fitness bracelets. Now, there's also the added layer of health insurance companies and how they intend on using this type of data to decide whether or not you're living a healthy lifestyle. Wearables data could just as easily be used by insurers to deny disability claims or by prosecutors seeking a rich source of self-incriminating evidence.
Sorry, let's be clear. Rich, inaccurate information, as we've been saying.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So these are all things that you should keep in mind when you're wearing these bracelets. It does track your location, which is something that I'm very aware of and has always made me a little uncomfortable. But there is a good side and a bad side to technology.
Yeah.
And so if you are going to deal with any type of legal issue, just keep in mind that any type of technology that you're carrying on you could be used against you.
Yeah. Yeah. Really fast last point. I find the idea that these insurance companies can get this information to be completely unacceptable. They're not the government. Like, I understand everybody has all this like respect for insurance companies. They're just a fucking company. They could be making Twizzlers. They're just a company making something. Now, I understand that they could make deals with these analytics companies to get the data, and that's fine. If they do that, though, those wearables should have a label on the front saying that we are going to sell your information to insurance companies to try to cause you to lose court cases. In the same way that cigarettes have to have warnings about lung cancer, if they're purposefully screwing you over, you should know about it.
Yeah, you should know about the third party, and it should be very clear. It shouldn't be in the fine print of the terms and conditions.
Yeah.